So at first I did not know how to respond to this comment, but I decided to respond in the way that I know best. So I hope that you guys enjoy. You're right. African Americans and Africans aren't the same. We still pick on each other while sharing a name. We still differentiate each other while sharing in fame. We may be driving to freedom, but we're not sharing a lane. And I'm going to speak in simple terms, and I'm going to make it plain. But if you don't understand my poem, then we've already lost the game. Because my heart aches when I see the amount of police brutality that African Americans go through. But were we not just crying about SARS? We go through what you go through. And I read a painful comment that said that we sold you. And yes, it's true. There were black slaves in Africa, and some of their descendants are you. But these slave systems were not the same, and you know that is true. Go ahead and read about the differences in the way we treated you. Because when we got a clue, we wanted you back, and they knew. Please don't refuse to acknowledge the hundreds of African rebellions that stopped almost 1 million more people from going. We are one divided people, and the division just keeps on growing. Who shows you the images of poor African children with that one eyeball fly? Who tells you that in America, blacks are what causes blacks to die? And who told you that the other one is less intelligent than you? Who told you that lie? We were both enslaved on lands that technically were indigenous to, because there were black people in America before Columbus and his crew. Our older generations fell for this. But we cannot. My brother, hold on tight to me and tie with me a knot. And when they tell us that we're different, we must tell them that we're not. I see me in your eyes. And I hear my ancestors' voices every time that you cry. And I'm sorry that at one point we had to say goodbye. No, we are not the same, but we are family. Africa at home and abroad. And no, my sister, our story will not end in tragedy. The way this comment has been on my soul, this is what we look like. It's crazy when you hear African Americans saying to Africans, now you know what it feels like when they steal from us. But you were stolen from us. You were stolen from us. We know what that feels like already. And we see you guys doing all this great stuff, and we're not against you. You're literally us. You may not still have the language or the culture, but you have the spirit and the soul. And we see that every day in your creations. So we are not the enemy. They make us feel like we're different, but we're not different. The enemy is the one that's stealing from all of us.
This comment is not new to me, sadly, because I too have received comments just like this. Some even worse in the comment section. Some people have gone as far as to send me emails just to tell me how not the same we are, and we can never be the same. And I cannot tell you how much ache that has brought me. It's like the more I dream of unity, the more further away it seems, the more unreachable it seems when you get this kind of comments, and when you see people speak about how we are never going to be unified so negatively. It's like, are we ever going to head somewhere as a unit? Are we ever going to make progress? Are we ever going to be on code, on a mission together? Like, are we ever going to be unanimous with what we are fighting for, with what we are dreaming and working towards, with our goals, aims, objectives? Are we ever going to be one? Like one up in the head and one down below in the heart. Are we ever going to get there? Like we stay so pressed helping the white man carry his water for him. At this rate, we don't even need him to keep us divided, because we'll keep ourselves divided just fine. At this rate, we don't need him to tell us the reason why we should remain divided, because we tell ourselves why we should remain divided. Like, how do we forget who the enemy is and then we fight amongst ourselves? The way some of us are moving, we obviously do not know who the true enemy is. I get we are not the same. Really, when you think about it, we are not. But the point is, do we keep focusing on what makes us different, or should we focus on what makes us similar? Why can't we look at ourselves like spices that when brought together makes a pot of soup taste better? As vital as the ingredient salt is, believe it or not, it is very useless when it's sitting in your kitchen cabinet. The usefulness of salt comes to light when you make a pot of soup and then you add the salt to the pot of soup. As useful as salt is, you can't just go eating salt. You add salt to a mixture of water, maggi, oil, onion, pepper, and every other ingredient you have, and then you have this pot of soup or rice or stew that's going to taste like mad because you added all these ingredients together. It's about time we start seeing ourselves as spices that when come together, we can create something magical like this mad pot of soup that we're all going to eat, rather than see ourselves like spices that can just do on their own. Like, who goes to the market and just buy, let's say, these spices in Nigeria here we call benetete. Who goes to market and just buy benetete and put it in the pot and then just cook benetete for dinner without adding water, without adding banga or palm kernel, without adding oil, without adding whatever other ingredients you need for your recipe to make this deliciousness you're going to have for dinner? So a sister from the UK sent me this on Instagram. She says, I have given up. I can't fight for the black race. It's exhausting and futile in my opinion. So many of us worldwide are not aware. Our eyes are closed and we would rather fight and kill each other than realize that a global propaganda and psychological war is waged against us. Again, she reached out after listening to one of our live conversations here on the channel, and she said, one thing I have learned from this live though is that the black community worldwide is in peril. Mental health issues are rife. I don't see us solving anything. I don't want to be part of such a destructive, self-hating, and always fighting each other global black community. I am about to become a housewife and mother, and I will go live with my husband in a peaceful, stable, and safe non-black neighborhood in Europe. Now going to the last part of this message, you can pause to read what I left out. She said, the black community is toxic and helpless. We can't be saved. I suggest you do the same. I think you're necessarily exhausting yourself. Good luck on your journey. You can pause to read this, fam. The truth is, not only do we have people who do not think we are one or can be one or should come together and fight for like a single cause for our betterment, we have people that are giving up as well. And this is something that I feel like we should pay more attention to. This is in no way going to help our cause. This is in no way going to help us as a people. Like, this seriously needs to be addressed. There's a lot of healing that have to go on. There's a lot of mending that have to go on. At this point, I personally do not know what we need to do or what we can do. But what I do know is that we cannot stop. I have no intention of giving up. I have no intention of writing off the black community or writing off my people and saying that we cannot do better. Because I do believe that we can do exceedingly and abundantly well for ourselves and as a people. But one thing I have come to realize is that it's about time we start being strategic about how we move towards unifying, how we move towards achieving our goals, how we move towards getting ourselves to that promised land. Because when we look at how they were successfully able to get us to the points that we are now, they were strategic when they were moving. They planned, they were strategically moving towards getting us to this point and making us remain at this point. I feel like we do need to move in strategic manner as well. Like, it's about time we get our chessboard out and start moving those pawns, those knights, those castles, and aim for the queen and get rid of her so we can checkmate the king. Like, it's about time we had our maps flat on the table and seriously get into planning, because it's war. Like, they had the Berlin conference. What are we doing not conferencing?